Okay, bear with me everyone. This video is in lieu of a trout fishing video. Trout fishing in Iowa has actually been very hard in recent weeks here. I did one 2 weeks ago and I did very well. However, I didn't film it because, I didn't want to film it. I did one this weekend and there was a lot of people. We caught some good fish, but we didn't do as good as we wanted to, so no video. Sometimes that's life. But I did want to reach out and do a little bit of a knife sharpening video. I know a lot of people really struggle with this, and it's something that it's an art to do it on a stone, and this is an alternative that you can do with little to no experience. I'm going to show you how to do it. This is a Ruxion Pro. It's a Chinese knockoff of a very expensive system. I think you can get into them for about 30 bucks. They come with little sharpening stones, tokens pen, and a little carrying case as well. So not a bad deal for 30 bucks, all said and done. But first we're gonna go into just a little bit of conditions here. I have my handy dandy little sheet, and we are gonna be sharpening this little paring knife. Hopefully you can see all that. If not, we're gonna move you back a touch. Now you should definitely be able to see all that. Also, I'm going to have 2 cameras running for close-ups and that sort of thing. Although for this, we're going to be going like this. Anyways, there are 4 conditions. Condition number 1 is what you want. It is where, so this is a blade here. This is the cutting edge right here. This is your main bevel right there, and this is your secondary bevel. So number 1 is parallel to this surface right here. I know my fingers are fat, but hopefully you can see that. Number 2 means you're cutting at too shallow of an angle, so you're cutting off some of this secondary bevel and you're cutting into that. 3 is you're not touching the cutting edge or the cutting bevel at all. You're just on this secondary bevel. We'll make sure you can see it. And 1 is far too steep on your cutting edge here, so you're taking a lot of material here off. So there's the 4 conditions that can occur. We're going to go through how do you get rid of them. Also, knife sharpness check. Okay, that's how much we cut, so we got to beat that. First thing you're going to do is you have to sharpen this side of the blade and this side, right? So pick a side, any side. Once you get your side picked, I'm going to go on my right hand first because I'm more confident. You're going to actually have to set your machine up. You're going to loosen this slide holder right here. You can see this slide comes all the way out to the end. Close up time. This slide comes all the way to the end here. Oop. It's also got a blue painter's tape here, so you can see if you're cutting into your table. You don't want to cut into your table. That's why you have the blue painter's tape. Adjust this slide to where the knife blade here comes very close and is resting over it. So this is too far back. So bring your table up. This is a 3-handed job, but you'll bring your little table up until the knife edge is just hanging over. Just about like that. Once you get to that, you'll tighten it down. Okay, I've got my table length set, and now I'm going to pick a stone. This is a 600 grit stone. What you're going to do is you're going to have a bowl of water sitting next to you here. Take your fingers, dip it in it, get your stone nice and wet. Reason you're doing that is to preserve your stone as much as possible and to help allow it cut easier. It's dual purpose. So now you got your stone nice and wet. Very simple, very intuitive. Stone face down. Slides nicely right into that little channel on either end. Make sure both of them are seated, and you're ready to start. So I mentioned that marker. This is where it comes in handy. We won't do a close-up. So on the cutting edge here, what you want to do is you want to highlight that cutting edge. So you can see my cutting edge is now blue. What you're trying to do is when you make a stroke with this, you want all that blue to go away when you make a stroke with that, from the top of the cutting point to the actual edge. You want that all to go away when you make a stroke with it. So we'll start out. Make sure that you're not hitting anything. I'm actually hitting my table. So if your knife is actually too thin, we'll see if there are two ways to fix this. You can go further out, actually you go further in, try and make the clearance happen, or you can take off this little plastic cover here. I'm thinking that, yep, I'm always going to hit my knife, I'm always going to hit the plastic little cover here. So what we do, just take the plastic cover off. That's going to decrease, this is pretty thick, you're going to decrease your depth of it. So now I should be able to lock this down and it should clear. So find that set again. Yep, right there. Everything's locked in. Perfect. Now, here we go. So we don't have it set to anything particular, but we're going to take 2 strokes quick here at the back. Everything clears. Yep. Okay. Close-up time. So we're actually cutting above the blue there. You can kind of see it right about mid-frame. I'll throw an arrow or something to denote it for editing, but yes, we're cutting above it, so we need to make a steeper angle. So to make a steeper angle, what you're going to do, you have a little adjustment back here. You're going to loosen it, and you're going to go up. So we just did a little up-see. Put your knife back on here on your bevel. We're getting close with that one. Okay. So after that adjustment, you can see I've scraped most of the blue marker off the back end, but yet it still remains on the front end. So what that says is we're on very close, if not right on the money with our bevel. And you'll look at it, and if you're increasing your bevel too much, you'll see that you're scraping all the way across. If you're too little, you're only scraping some of the blue off, just the blue on that first edge. So we're doing good on where it needs to be at. So we're going to tighten everything in, and I think we're going to go for it. Everything is still happy. Once again, there's a couple high points and low points in there, but overall I think we're very close to having a knife that's much, much sharper. Once again, there we started out. That's what we started out with. Let's see if we have any improvement. That's how much improvement you have. Is it much sharper? I don't know. Let's do the finger test. No, I'm not going to cut my finger open. Doesn't feel much sharper, the thumbnail. It does clean some thumbnail stuff off. However, that's just the 600 grit stone. You can take this down to, with this set, I want to say this is 320, excuse me, 120, so 1500. I actually grabbed the most modest stone, or the second most modest stone. First cut, second cut. Well, third cut's a little more improvement, but I also curved, so let's try that again. Okay, so you can see I curved just a little bit, but you're still looking at 25% more cutting on that, and like 250% more sharp than we started off with. So that's just using the 600. Every time you go up, you'll obviously make it sharper, but you'll also get a finer edge. so it'll also be easier prone to dulling. My recommendation would start off with a big knife that you don't necessarily care about. And the reason for that is big knives are easier to find the angle on. You're working farther away from your table, so when you put this down, what am I out of? I'm out of something. Anyways, when you put this down, you'll, that really bothers me. When you put this down, you'll work further off the table and it'll be easier to see. Obviously, I'm out of battery, so it's time to get the heck out of here.